UMM 57 years old, and UMM, one of the private university in Indonesia. UMM, we have a reputation, national and international reputation. And today, all of us join with second ICoN-BEAT held by FPP. Once again, thanks for your participation. This topic in the ICoN-BEAT 2021, bioenergy, especially bioenergy and efficiency of natural resources and the environment. One of the themes on ICoN-BEAT second ICoN-BEAT 2021 is very important issues when the COVID pandemic hits all countries in the world. COVID-19 is not only a pandemic in terms of disease and health, but COVID-19 has become an issue that goes beyond the supremacy of state sovereignty in all fields. COVID-19 force of sovereignty of a country to have to compromise with the needs to maintain and priorities. The safety its nation from attack of the COVID-19 pandemics. Every country must change, and the direction policies in all files they have been prepared under normally circumstances. The policy abnormalities of each country are carried out to simply survive the continuation of subsistence in two areas that cannot be chosen, namely the health and welfare of the nationals above the supremacy of its sovereignty. In the past, sovereignty was defined as the rule of law and politics over one country to another. Now, sovereignty has shifted its meaning to the supremacy of medicine to heal the citizens of one country with another citizen. And the other issues, the exploitation of fossil energy sources for scientists to exploit their expertise to find the new renewable energy sources to maintain the continuity of life. The exploitation of natural resources of the environment forces scientists to exploit the research finding to search for colonize and planets as new nature and living environmental. So finally, hopefully, second ICoN-BEAT 2021 can parse and formulate new ideas for the benefit of stakeholders' policy formulation and strengthening prevention programs for the prevention COVID-19 in the perspective of meeting food needs and energy security as an integral part of the overall programs to restore national supremacy and healthy living system and prosperous. happy conference, and good health. Selamat berkonferensi internasional, salam sehat, semoga berkah. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Amin.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sidik Sunario, for the opening speech. Indeed, we expect that ICoN-BEAT could provide or offer a real contribution to the current problems. Excellencies, participants, ladies and gentlemen, before we start our plenary sessions, let us have a short 15 minutes break, and we will resume our agenda at 8:45 sharp. And during the short break, we can watch promotional videos of UMM, while you can also do other personal things. So we will see you in a few minutes.
The Great Malang area, which offers cool and comfortable weather, is a perfect location for learning, allowing students to keep growing and developing. Everyone will surely love this city. It is the dream place for all students from various cultures and countries. The University of Muhammadiyah Malang, UMM, is blessed with all sorts of natural splendours. This university is full of achievements. No wonder awards and acknowledgements keep coming from various institutions, both national and international ones. Among others are the highest A-list institutional accreditation from the Indonesian National University Accreditation Body, BANPT, and the award for the leading university from the Department of Higher Education Regional the 7th of East Java, which was achieved 11 times consecutively. In the global level, UMM achievement is also as great. UMM has twice been awarded the Asian Energy Awards in 2009 and 2018. In 2010 to 2011, UMM also achieved 2-star university from the internationally renowned institution. In addition, UMM has also been an associate member of the AUNQA, the Asian University Association. UMM students are highly heterogeneous. They come from all corners of the nation as well as overseas. There are 11 faculties and 57 study programs offered in UMM, starting from the diploma level, undergraduate, graduate to doctoral programs. Among those, 4 of UMM study programs have been internationally accredited and certified by the AUNQA. Some of the list of faculty and study programs in this university are All faculties and study programs are equipped with high-standard laboratories, which are all centrally managed by the UMM Central Laboratory Office. UMM laboratories have achieved the International Standardization Organization (ISO) from the National Accreditation Committee, and so we are qualified to perform laboratory tests for other agencies such as companies or other universities. In addition to academic facilities, UMM also offers many business units which serve as the university income centres. Those business units allow the university to have more sources of income for its operational costs, thus we do not merely depend on the funding generated from the students. We have UMM Dome, UMM Hospital, Sarya Medika Hospital in Samboa, UMM Gas Station, Motorbike and Car Workshop, Micro Hydro Power Plant, UMM Sang Soya Apartment, UMM Brinjani Credit Bank, UMM Farm Agriculture Production Centre, UMM Sangkaling Recreational Park, and UMM Kapal Garden Hotel. All those business units also serve as the applied laboratories in order to boost UMM students' entrepreneurship skills. As an internationally reputable university, UMM is proud to have conducted many international outreach programs with various academic activities such as seminars, conferences, research projects, as well as student, staff and faculty member exchange programs with numerous overseas universities and institutions. So far, UMM has established active collaborations with 111 universities, as well as governmental and non-governmental institutions from a total of 31 countries around the world. Among others are UMM students and lecturers embraces creativity and innovation in developing their research and academic works, as well as to perform community service programs. This enthusiasm for working and innovating has been the main urge for the UMM students of communication science major to renovate the slum area of Jodapan to be the colourful neighbourhood area, more commonly known in Indonesia as Kawasan Kampung Warna-Warni, which is renowned internationally, as well as to create the Tempanasor Green Neighbourhood, Kampung Hijau Tempanasaurus, located in Beji village, which is acknowledged by the Indonesian Museum of Record, MURI. On top of that, the robotic team of UMM has 3 times in a row won the International Robotic Competition in the US. UMM is also renowned for its energy independence. For more than a decade, UMM has established its own power plant, the Microhydro Power Plant. After gaining success in the university area, this power plant concept was expanded by establishing other microhydro power plants in Sumba Maroon, Kamrasuku village, Malang Regency, and in the Boon Spring tourism area. This program has successfully established 4,000 electricity connections in the local resident houses. Success starts from the courage to dream and to move forward for better change. Your steps today determine your roles in the future, to be students and graduates who are ready to actively work and contribute for the nation. Students today, leaders tomorrow.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the second ICoN-BEAT conference, International Conference on Bioenergy and Environmentally Sustainable Agriculture Technology. I hope you have had a nice and refreshing short break, and we will now resume our agenda for today's conference. We have now arrived in the plenary sessions, which are going to be delivered by our renowned expert in bioenergy and sustainable agriculture technology. And for the first keynote session, it will be moderated by Ms. Rista Anggraini. The screen is yours, Ms. Rista.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Nina. Dear all guest speakers, participants, colleagues, and friends, good morning and welcome to the plenary session. This plenary session will be divided into 2 rounds, and I'm Rista Anggraini, will be moderator for the first round. I'm very pleased to see you here and welcome all of you to this second ICoN-BEAT. Before the presentation begins, let me inform the rule how the presentation will be going on. Firstly, I'd like to give the time to each speaker to present the material for about 20 minutes and followed by discussion about 10 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce the first speaker. He is Dr. Dadan Kusdiana, a Director General of Renewable Energy and Energy Conservation, Republic of Indonesia. Please allow me to read a glance of curriculum vitae of Dr. Dadan. Well, after graduating from Institut Pertanian Bogor for his undergraduate, Dr. Dadan continued to master and doctor at Kyoto University. The experiences of Dr. Dadan have such as Senior Advisor to Minister on the Economic of Natural Resources 2017-2019, Head of Research and Development Agency MEMR 2019-2020, and now he is Director General of New Renewable Energy and Energy Conservation, Republic of Indonesia. Dear all participants on this conference, now allow me to invite the speaker, Dr. Dadan Kusdiana, to deliver his presentation. Dr. Dadan Kusdiana, the time is yours.
Terima kasih. Suara saya udah kedengar ya, Mbak Rista. Baik, terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi, very good morning to all of you. I would like to thank to the UMM for the invitation. This is my honor to be with you all here in the second ICoN-BEAT International Conference on Bioenergy and Environmentally Sustainable Agriculture Technology today in UMM Malang. I would like also to extend my gratitude also to Professor Dr. Samsu Arifin and also to Dr. Siddiq Sunaryo. For me, UMM is quite familiar. I think last year I went there also to have some discussion on other renewable energy, in particular for micro hydro. We have been in cooperation with UMM since few years ago to develop this kind of technology, and also I think UMM also very active to develop this. UMM also in my note that has received the ASEAN Energy Award, the acknowledgement that the development of renewable energy at the university. So I would like to share the screen. So for the team, I think you use bioenergy and sustainability. For me, this is very timely. So we are discussing on how to have the energy transformation, and at the same time, I think bioenergy with its sustainability aspect very important to discuss. Next. Let me begin with providing you with the idea how then Indonesia will go for the energy transformation to go toward the net zero emission. Currently, we use mostly fossil fuel with almost 12% coming from renewable energy, we have the target to go to 23% in 2025, and at the same time we have to ensure the people that all the people have the availability, accessibility, and also with their affordability for the energy access. The other aspect is now that having more attention from the society is in terms of the sustainability. So those issues coming together, we then put some strategies here. First, of course, we will develop renewable energy because this is green, this is sustainable, this is less or even free from emission. How then we can develop? The first is to substitute the primary energy. So we are currently using B30, for example, for biodiesel. We are developing coal-firing, putting more biomass into the coal power fire plant, and also try to start in using RDF, refuse-derived fuel. This is the bioenergy coming from municipal solid waste. We do also the conversion of energy fossil, in particular for the diesel, and it will convert or it will be converted to gas and also to renewable energy. We will increase the capacity of renewable energy, and also we use more renewable energy for the other use other than electricity or biofuel. For example, using as a briquette, biogas, and also for other use. And this all of use of renewable energy are not enough to ensure the energy transformation to go to net zero emissions. So we have to add more activities. Try to use electric vehicle, more battery instead of the diesel. And also, I think I would like to invite also all the scientists from UMM to start to look for further research on hydrogen. Smart energy as part of the infrastructure, smart grid, and also the other that is very important also for us is to do the energy conservation. And how about the fossil fuel? Fossil fuel will then be combined with the use of clean coal technology, or we will use CCUS, carbon capture and utilization storage, and combine with the net sink. So by this, then we can use energy with less of emission. We have the energy dependency to increase the energy security with highly sustainable development, and at the end, we will have the society with low carbon and climate resilience. Next, and how are the bioenergy development so far in us here in Indonesia? The first is to use bioenergy for power plant as the base load. The second is to increase the use of biofuel as a fossil fuel substitute in all related stakeholders. I mentioned already that we are now using currently B30, 30% of biodiesel from palm oil blended with diesel fuel, and to utilize biomass for coal substitution. We call this as coal-firing. We use currently majority for electricity coming from coal, and by putting more biomass, more renewable energy, then we can reduce the greenhouse gas emission. And the other are to utilize organic waste and municipal solid waste as renewable energy sources. We develop also biogas for domestic use, for industrial, for transportation. I think biogas also has a very interesting potential. Technology are still developed and growth, and I believe that in near future the use of biogas also will go into the commercial level. And the last one, this is very important also for us for the downstream, for the upstream, for the feedstock, because the one that is quite difficult from us, from Ministry of Energy, is to guarantee the supply, to guarantee the feedstock. it goes to the agriculture sector, into the forest sector. So we really need the support also from others on how to improve the, for example, the productivity of the biomass. Next. I will go into one by one. Next. For biomass potential for electricity, we have currently almost 2,000 gigawatt already in capacity installed nationally. With on-grid is 227 megawatt, and the rest are in the term of off-grid, or they use for their own use for the process in the manufacture. They don't sell into the grid, into the PLN. And capacity or potential are still very high. In our survey 5 years ago, that the potential of bioenergy for electricity is equivalent with 32 gigawatt. So now we are currently using 2 gigawatt. So we still have more than enough to develop bioenergy for the next 10 years. And also we can increase actually the potential for bioenergy by plantation. Next, this is the update for biofuel. We are the country that currently using B30, the highest blending ratio of biodiesel blended into the diesel fuel since last year. And we do more also activities to ensure that the enough capacity for the supply. We have the incentive mechanism. So government provide incentives for the gap of the price of the biodiesel compared with the diesel fuel. And this year we are targeting to blend 9.2 million kiloliter of biodiesel. Next, for biogas, I think Malang is one of the very important area for household implementation of biogas. There are more than 5,000 of biogas have been installed actually around Malang, and the development are quite interesting so far. For example, in one area in East Kalimantan, now they are having the concentrated biogas. So it can use as biomethane gas, and it can be used as for local transportation and also for LPG substitution for employees of housing. Yeah. So this is kind of a little bit modern of the use of biogas. Next. The other in terms of biomass and RDF. RDF is refuse derived fuel as co-firing fuels in existing coal power fire plant. So we have 41 locations of the power plant, and currently already running in commercial pace is 16 locations. And this year we are targeting to have more to 23%. This is actually the implementation is quite simple. We just blend the bioenergy with coal. But the issue then, how then we can guarantee we can keep the spec of the biomass meet with the standard. We have the standard already. And the other issue, the other very important aspect is for the supply on this feedstock. Next, how then the future of the biomass? For bioenergy, we will develop more for the implementation, whether this is on grid or off grid. We are currently preparing the government presidential regulation for tariff. So hopefully we can see more bioenergy power plant connected into the grid and also used for the process internally. Next, in terms of biofuels, we are already in B30, and now we are expanding to have the green fuel, whether this is green diesel, green gasoline, or bioactor, with at the same time we are ensuring the sustainability, the high quality standard. We support the smallholder contribution into the as the stakeholder of the industry. So actually, it is also important to have more feedstock other than CPO. So we will increase the specification of the biodiesel in particular, because we are looking to have more blending ratio for the biodiesel. From currently B30, we have done actually the study, the test, trial test for B40 and B50, and those provide us the result, the good result, that there is possibility also to increase more blending ratio. Pertamina has developed also some projects, in particular, for example, in Dumai refinery for green diesel, and also standalone green diesel development by Pertamina in Cilacap and also in Pelaju. Yeah. Non ITB, I think, also developed we call benzene sawit, so converted from CPO into the gasoline. Next, for biomass co-firing roadmap, we will use this more and more in future. But actually, this is depend on the availability of the feedstock. So from our technical review, so the roadmap that we will use around 9 million metric ton of biomass to be blended with the coal for the existing coal-fired power plant. Next, in terms of biogas, I think this is also interesting for the research, for the development in the campus and university, how to develop compressed biogas. You see here the spec. In methane, for example, methane, if we use the existing technology for biogas, the methane content is just around the half or 60%. But if we compress, then it can be increased, and at the end we can have the calorific value very much similar, or even a little bit higher compared with natural gas. So I think this is the future of the use of biogas. We can we have many potential for this development. Next, last one is for the energy crops. We call hutan tanaman energi. There are actually already 30 business permit for forest timber production utilization, or hutan tanaman industry. Yeah. And this actually directed for the energy, but so far the progress is for pellet. Yeah. Pellet is for export. For us to be developed as the international is too expensive. We use in the form of the pellet. So I think if we can use directly from the wood chip, then this will be much more competitive compared with pellet. So it can be easier for government also to have more implementation. And this is not only for pellet or for biomass for burning, but also I think the process can also be further for bioethanol, biomethanol, bio-oil coming from lignocellulosic material. So I think that's all from my side. So at the end, I really appreciate the activity coming from the UMM, and I would like to also to invite all to have more research in terms of the process, in terms of to have more productivity of the biomass feedstock, and also in terms of the sustainability as becoming the theme of this seminar. Thank you. Return to Mbak Rista.
Mute. Okay. Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Dadan, for giving us interesting presentation. Okay, from this first speaker, I'd like to take the highlight that smart energy, smart grid, and energy conservation is our concern in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, now come to the question and answer session. Anyone who has question, please click raise hand button to ask permission before being selected by the moderator. Don't forget to mention your name before delivering your question. Anyone? Okay, while we are waiting for the question, let me check what the chat column. Okay. One question from Roy Steobudi. Okay, the question is, okay, UMM ESDM has financed PLTMH and the QM campus. Currently, the Director General of ABTKE is driving the rooftop photovoltaic system. Several masjid and Katedral Jakarta offices and a number of campuses have installed rooftop photovoltaic system. Is it possible for renewable energy grant at UMM campus to be continued with rooftop photovoltaic system? Thank you.
Yeah, of course it is possible. That depends on the availability of the fund. Yeah, this year we don't have any budget for this, but I think you can submit to us the proposal.
Okay, so
thank
it is
you, Pak Roy.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Roy. Any questions? Please raise hand, or maybe you can type your question in the chat column. We still have 4 minutes left before we are going to the next speaker. Okay, nobody. Or let me, I deliver my question for Dr. Dadan. So after I listened for your presentation, so what the big challenge to concern about the bioenergy?
Well, I think the concern, at least at this moment, is the feedstock. Yeah.
Okay, feedstock. Mm-hmm.
We have to ensure the feedstock because this is different with solar. This is different with wind.
Mm-hmm.
If wind or solar, if there is no wind, that we do is just berdoa.
Okay.
But for this, we cannot do this. We have to do the activity. We have to land clearing. We have to do plantation.
Mm-hmm.
Well, many activities here to ensure that we should have the feedstock. And
mm-hmm.
But the interesting is that then if we have enough feedstock, it can serve for all the year during the day and nights. This is different with solar. With solar is only available during the day, but they have to the energy has to be stored in the battery, for example. For this, we don't need that, and we can manage. I think we are the country in tropical country with the background of agriculture activities, farmers, and also it can involve many layer of stakeholders from the not only from the developer here, but also the local people, the farmers. They can also contribute on this.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Dadan. The last question for this moment, the question from Prapti Ningsi, University Merdeka, Madiun. Okay, Dr. Dadan only explained about biodiesel, biogas, and biomass. So she is curious about the development of bioethanol. Could you explain a little bit about the bioethanol? Thank you, Dr. Dadan.
Thank you, Ibu Prapti Ningsi. Yeah, I did that. Yes, I just a little touch into the issue of bioethanol at the end, because so far I think we are not advanced in terms of this. Well, frankly, to say that there is no development for bioethanol so far. Why then? there is no development because I mean the price is too expensive. Yeah, because the process coming from molasses then is also used for others, for export, for other industries. So at the end, the feedstock is quite expensive, and that's too expensive to be blend. But then at the end, I mentioned that I will invite for the research, for development. So we are jumping from the start base of bioethanol, then goes into the lignocellulosic base of the feedstock, yeah, for bioethanol. So I think this will be interesting if university also in the research can do this part. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Dadant. Ladies and gentlemen, due to the limited time, I would like to ask for your apologize that question and answer session is closed. We conclude that several steps can be developed as bioenergy, such as develop bioenergy-based power plants, increase the use of biofuel as a fossil fuel in substitution in all related sector, utilize biomass for coal substitution in existing coal-fired power plants, utilize organic waste as renewable energy source, develop sustainable biogas for domestic, industrial, and transportation sectors, and the last, maintain sustainability supply of bioenergy feedstock through development of energy forests. I'd like to thank the first speaker for the informative and interesting talk. Finally, give it the applause for the fourth speaker and for you all. Before we are going to move the second speaker, let me deliver the certificate as deepest appreciation. Okay, the operator, could you share about the certificate for Dr. Dadan?
Mana?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Yes, sorry, Dr. Dadan. Is there any problem for showing the certificate? But actually, we are very deepest appreciation for Dr. Dadan to give meaningful information about bioenergy transformations. Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Dadan. See you around. Keep health. And before the Dr. Dadan leave the Zoom, so please all participants and first speaker to take a picture. Okay, please on your video and give the big smile. I will count down. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Okay, thank you, Dr. Dadan. Let's move to the second speaker. So, ladies and gentlemen, for the second speaker, welcome to Professor Didi Hajar Gunadi from Indonesian Research Institute for Biotechnology and Bioindustry. Okay, the glimpse about his curriculum vitae. So, Professor Didi graduated from Institut Pertanian Bogor for his undergraduate and continued the study at University of Georgia, USA. The achievement of Prof. Didi, including in 1995, he reached the level of main research expert in the field of soil science, and since 1993, research development and service activity have been carried out on many aspects of microbiology application to increase fertilization efficiency and soil carrying capacity. In 1986, he was awarded the P. United States, and 1997, he received an award from the American Association for the Advancement of Science. And in August 1998, he received the Satya Lancana Wirakarya Honorary Award from the President of the Republic of Indonesia. Okay, until 2002, four patents had been obtained, actively published in various domestic and international journals, and translate several books related to soil, fertilizer, and microbes. And in 2003, he served as expert staff to the Minister of the Technology and Economic and the State Ministry of Research and Technology. So, Professor Didi, are you ready to deliver your presentation? Okay, Professor Didi, the screen is yours.
Thank you, Mbak Rista. Good morning, everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, I would like bisa dengar ya suara saya?
Bisa, jelas
Could
Pak.
everyone hear my voice? Okay. First of all, I would like to thank the organizer for inviting me to join this very honorable event in University of Muhammadiyah Malang. However, it's very unfortunate that the pandemic is still intensive, so we cannot join offline in Malang. So we can meet in this virtual conference. The second one is I would like to share what I've been concerned for the last few years, especially related to the sustainable agricultural technology, related to the environmental and also the bioenergy. So I would like to share my, I would like to introduce also the additional my professions right now. As I'm a senior researcher at the Indonesian Research Institute of Biotechnology and Bioindustry in Bogor. So, I think some of you have been acknowledged for the work that I have done actually already 40 years in research. So I would like to share some of my work in this presentation. So please, Ms. Moderator, remind me when I am touching the time over later, okay? Let me share my presentation. Now, could everyone see what I already said here?
It's okay, Pak.
Okay. The title that I would like to share this morning is about the land suitability assessment and soil organic carbon stock as the two keys for achieving sustainability of oil palm. Why I prefer oil palm in this presentation, because it is something that has already become a leading commodity in as our country is #1 producer, and also what already mentioned by Dr. Dadan previously about the oil palm, that this is something that is very, very significant both in economic and as a social welfare for the people. So I would like to share this one for the next. So let me start with what actually we have in mind, the importance of vegetable oil for lower income strata, especially, then facing the environmental challenge head-on, especially on sustainability aspect. Actually, there are many definitions on sustainability, but for this issue, let me simplify. The sustainable means avoiding the depletion of natural resources in order to maintain an ecological balance. Due to its highly efficient in producing oil, it will directly or indirectly for oil palm to face attack and accusation on its sustainability, especially by the countries and region which are in interest in the competitor crops such as soybean, rapeseed, and sunflower. Also, we also learned that how the oil palm has been studied, and it is proven to be in line with the Sustainable Development Goal, namely the reducing poverty and equality, and then support food security and food fortification, and then also contribute in national economic performance and increase renewable energy mix and prevent prevent the environmental deterioration. And also it has been shown that oil palm has the highest substantial impact on SDGs achievement. But for the environmental impact, it requires balancing demand on land between agriculture. And the biodiversity is also related very strongly, having a substantial impact from oil palm. On the other hand, a voluntary standard of sustainability exists for oil palm, and it's like our SBO, for example, but it suffers many discrepancies in its application and therefore suggested to be improved. The basic idea of sustainability is that it could do something to minimize damage of the environment while still producing enough food and feed for the current and the next generation, which then include environmental safety, people's welfare, and healthy life. Now, from the perspective of land management, there are actually three orientations. This is environmental safety, people's welfare, and healthy life. It's actually strongly focused to enable mankind to manage its environment without any permanent damages. So the objective of my presentation is to discuss the basic capital supporting agricultural, namely land, particularly in the production of biomass for energy or bioenergy in relation to common sustainability criteria and standards of land utilization for oil palm in Indonesia. Now, first, let's see what is sustainability understanding from land management perspective. Sustainability could be simply defined as the result of activities that are first, not creating environmental damage. Second, maintaining and or improving soil fertility. The third is increasing revenues. And next is improving farmers' welfare. The fifth is opening education opportunity and providing a better life for growers. These targeted conditions have been more or less included in the so-called 17 Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations declared in 2013. As indicated previously, oil palm in Indonesia significantly contribute to at least 6 out of the 17 SDGs. And now we can see land as a non-renewable resources. Actually, land, this is consisting of soil and access to the above atmosphere, is definitely the capital for growers. Both components are considered as non-renewable but reusable resources. And to some extent, they are difficult to manage, especially in relation to climatic factors. Soil as a natural living body, when exposed to any anthropogenic damages and under unique ecosystem conditions, would be fragile, such as wetland and also peatland area. For example, the drainage of wetland area for land clearing and cultivation endangers the area to fire hazard and accelerated decomposition of the organic matter, which in turn result in a greenhouse gas emission to the atmosphere. Damaging the renewable resources will create a big damaging non-renewable resources will create a big disaster sooner or later. However, we should also appreciate all technology developers who untiringly dedicate their time to find the most effective way to minimize the damage while achieving profitable yield. Now, we also experience that technologies vary from practical drainage method to advanced biotechnology to construct new crop variety tolerant to variable restriction. For example, waterlogging, long drought, and strong acid soil reaction. Actually, technologies become a strategic tool to overcome problems, retarding crop growth and while maintaining
Professor Didi, are you still joining us? Okay. Perhaps any problem in stability of connection. Okay, let's me to recall the Professor Didi. Professor Didi.
Okay, sorry, I lost my connection. Can you hear like now?
Yeah, it's clear enough. Okay.
Okay.
Keep going.
Let me surrogate my loss. Okay, can you see already now?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, Pak Didi, it's clear.
Hello.
Clear.
Yes, it's
Yeah, it's
clear.
clear enough, Professor Didi.
Everyone can see mine?
Yeah. Okay, keep going, Professor Didi.
Yeah.
Yep, keep going.
Okay. Let me continue. Maybe from the well, okay. Let's go to back to this slide. That the use of land is directly related to activity of human, but not the continuous and non-linear nature. And this relationship between land and people was reported by some researchers before. In agriculture, the sustainability goal include maintaining or increasing the natural resources of the environment, meeting for need and social welfare, so that the farmers improve the efficiency of their use input and they can achieve their economic and environmental goal. Then the application of resource conservation technology, for example, for irrigated rice, had an effective role in increasing the land productivity and conservation of the natural resources. Then it is obvious the understanding of sustainability from land management viewpoint should involve any mitigation of possible decreasing capacity by using appropriate technology to maintain economically land productivity. Some researchers also has reported the opinion that optimal use of natural resources is very important for the environment because the land degradation is a major threat to natural resources. The misuse and inappropriate management of land are the major reason for degradation. Therefore, the site selection is an important component of sustainable land use management strategies. Reduction and degradation of land necessitate sustainable agricultural practices. One of the best ways to prevent soil degradation is land suitability analysis. Many environmental problems can occur when the land is not used in accordance with its capabilities and properties. Therefore, we can conclude that land suitability analysis propose the optimal land use opportunity. Now, how about the land use capability to support oil palm? Picker and colleagues in 2016 has shown that when they consider the climatic condition, there are available about almost 1.4 billion hectares in the world that suitable for oil palm. And this is concentrated in 12 tropical countries. However, when we corrected the area with the other suitable commodities and protected areas, for example, the high carbon stock forest, they found only 234 million hectares, or about 17% of worldwide suitable area left. So it seems that the limit of oil palm expansion are far from being reached, but we should also take into account the accessibility of the area and also the competition with other agricultural commodities. Therefore, taking into account all of this, they concluded that the maximum area available for oil palm expansion is only about 18% out of 234 million hectares, or equal to approximately 42 million hectares. In practice, the oil palm plantation establishment is always and should be based on the evaluation of land capability. And in this case, land use capability classification, or LUCC, is a fundamental set of criteria which shows the sustainability of land for agricultural production. As re-emphasized by the Paramatan and also myself, the necessity of land suitability evaluation for oil palm as a basis to achieve sustainable production, which basically involve the evaluation of optimum growth condition for the crop, soil characteristic, climatic factor, and matching the new land targeted to be used as oil palm plantation. Applying the system, it is then possible to define a land suitability class for oil palm based on the most constraining and factor difficult to change. Otherwise, it would be too expensive or impossible to fix the damage if occurred. And this is some review about how the sustainability assessment for land to be used for the oil palm. And we can see later on the figure 1 how the land suitability class affect the productivity. And this is, you may see in this picture, the relationship between yield potential in fresh fruit bunches per hectare per year with the edges of the crop. And you can see the S1 is the highest productivity, second, and the middle is the S2, and the last or the bottom is the S3. And you see, if we can introduce technology for this condition, I show with this red arrow, the yield potential of the oil palm could be increased to a certain level, depending on manufacturer, especially for from the genetic of the crop. This is just to gives the illustration about how the S1 class of oil palm land. See, it is very flat and a very nice plantation. Then this is the undulating to hilly topographical area that is classified as a S2 to S3 area, but it is still productive area for oil palm. And this is the area that's actually unsuitable for oil palm, but people are forced to use the area to be oil palm plantation. And then it gets very productive also, because like in the beginning like this, and then it convert to and the picture like on the right on the left side here, and they use the water canal for transportation of the fresh fruit bunches. This is another example how technology can overcome the local problem created by waterlogging, and then they put some planting heap to overcome this seasonal effect, and then this area become also productive for oil palm. And also the former mining sandy soil, with originally classified as an or unsuitable land for oil palm, can be converted to a suitable area by introducing technology, including the leguminous cover crop right here. And you may see here in the top right, the beginning of the establishment of plantation, and then 2-3 years later, you can see a very nice picture like this. Okay, now the strategy for land management to reach the sustainability of oil palm. We can see how the rapid expansion of oil palm cultivation, and especially in the Southeast Asia, has raised environmental concern, especially from deforestation and greenhouse gas emission issues. So this is something related to the hydrological function and water quality degradation. So therefore, the future research should be focused to the understanding of and access the potential of oil palm plantation to change the hydrological function and related nutrient fluxes, and also considering agricultural practices and assessing water quality and water cycle. So there's some interesting study conducted by Rahman, and I would like to share with you how the long-term effect of oil palm on soil organic carbon stock And this is very important because how the type of management, for example, for best management practice and then current management practice and compare with smallholder management practice can affect the carbon organic stock in the soil. You may see this is a decreasing between best management practice to the smallholder in all soil depth studies. And this is something that we should pay attention to avoid any further damage for decreasing soil organic carbon stock. And we use the data of Raman that stated from 29 years after open or to be oil palm plantation to 49 years, there is a significant drop, but suddenly also become slowing down. And if we can see this as a pattern, then we can extrapolate it that the soil organic carbon stock decrease and then back to the original status need about 69 years. So we need to be careful to use this data that it has taken almost 70 years to be back to the original level of carbon stock of the soil. Okay, now the key important factor to reach oil palm sustainability is first, we have to do the best management practices, and then also we also include smallholder farmers, independent smallholder farmers, to take the opportunity to maintain the soil organic carbon stock to achieve the economic yield. And related to the bioenergy sources, we can mention here how oil palm also offers some huge biomass material, especially when we apply a pyrolytic technology. We can produce or convert biomass of AFB and OPF as a biochar feedstock for low carbon emission soil organic matter. So the application advanced biotechnology approach, such genome editing and molecular docking, will also certainly open wider opportunity to develop and sustain the oil palm cultivation, both for oil and biomass production. This is some data that you may learn later from my full presentation, from corn, sugar, and to algae, how it is produce can be converted into various bioenergy sources. Well, I should end my presentation here. That in the last decade, we can see many controversies arose questioning the sustainability of palm in the long run, especially because of many superiority compared to the other vegetable producing crop. We can be used not only for food, but also be used as energy feedstock. The question of sustainability was actually anticipated by all soil scientists, including environmentalists. The use of land for massive agricultural production must follow the basic standard of land exploitation. Now, from the perspective of land management, the question whether oil palm could be sustainable in the future has been responded worldwide by many researchers, showing that the crop is sustainable as long as it is cultivated by following the standard measures to avoid permanent disruption and soil capacity to support economic return. Among others, the two important mandatory guidelines for sustainable oil palm that should be followed are first, a land suitability assessment, and second, all effort to maintain and or improve soil carbon stock. The pressure coming lately from the economic opportunity to use oil palm biomass both as a bioenergy and as a higher added value product need to be handled wisely by considering all potential trade-offs to the use of the land. Ignoring the need of soil for organic matter input would end in a disaster for the oil palm business in the future and would almost certainly make the oil palm business and the wider economy drift away from the SDGs. Thank you very much Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much for Professor Didi for insightful presentation. I think everyone will be agreeing that the ideas you addressed is really important for us to think further about the land sustainability and soil organic carbon stock maintenance. Now let's open the discussion. Anyone who has question, please click raise hand button to deliver directly your question or type your question via chat column. Don't forget to mention your name before delivering your question. Anyone who want to deliver the question directly?
Okay, Miss Rista.
Okay.
I am Devi Disiskawadani from University of Muhammadiyah Malang. I would like to ask Mr. Dadan about, would you like to share with us, because Mr. Dadan only shared about biodiesel but bioethanol, he didn't share it yet. So would you like to share with us about the raw material for producing bioethanol? Because the first generation for producing bioethanol is sugar and starch, and lignocellulose, it's classified as the second generation. That's for Mr. Dadan. And for Mr. Didi, about soil management, how to control toxicity in soil, especially about manganese and aluminum status, because at previous research that I was read, that different position, especially upland and lowland, had significantly different concentration, and it also will affect the growth of plant, and it also will affect the yield. So would you like to share with us about the strategy, how to control it? Thank you. That's from me.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Debbie, for your nice questions. So let's Professor Didi to give the direct response.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Rista. If I'm not mistaken, the question is regarding the manganese and aluminum, yeah, toxicity in the soil.
It's correct.
Yeah. Okay. I think that is a very common, long problem that we face on the acid soil. How the toxicity of these two elements need to be overcome. And I think that is the generic recipe is by changing the pH, okay? Because the aluminum become inactive when we increase the pH and also the manganese. So then I think by the very simple way is by liming. But we also could apply some competitors anion coming from the organic matter. For example, when we have carboxylic anion, then we can make attach to the aluminum and manganese, so it become immobile. And when it's immobile, then it will not be absorbed by plant or crop using the root system, but it will be deposited in the soil. I think that is so too many research has been reported regarding these two elements, and you could find anything anywhere with in the internet, and also asking Google for these two elements that affecting yield and growth and yield of the crop. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Professor Didi. We just have 2 minutes left, so I will read one question. Okay, the question from Roy Setiabudi, and the question about biotech crops on human health. Why biotech crops such as oil palm, even though imported genetically engineered soybeans, especially tempeh and tofu, are flooding in Indonesia?
Sorry, could you repeat your the first part of the question?
Okay, the first part, the Roy is concerned about biotech crops on human health.
What crop?
Biotech. biotech crops on human health, especially on oil palm.
What do you mean by what? I'm sorry. The
Biotechnology crops.
Oh,
harvest.
biotech crop.
Yep.
Okay. In oil palm, and will what the relationship with the health, human health?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Let me get straight for this one. Okay. The common understanding of biotech crop is what you call it, related to the genetically modified crop, GMO, or genetically modified organism, GMO, right? This is something that, well, it, different mazhab, I should say, yeah? Different mazhab, different school of thought. Others think that this crop will promise some huge impact to people in the world, because increasing yield could be achieved by using this kind of technology. But the others questioning about the safety of this crop, because they are playing genetic transformation. But don't worry about the genetic modified organism, because we have another alternative for the biotech technology. That's what we call it by genome editing. Okay, so we are not using the transgenic, but we using cisgenic. Cisgenic approach has been proven to be a more safe to the human health, especially if you related to the oil palm. So we are now doing many research to develop a new oil palm plantation. New palm crop by cisgenic to obtain more tolerant to drought variety, and also to the important disease like Ganoderma, what you call it, tolerant variety. So don't worry to the health, okay? Because all of the technology will guarantee there is no difference to the original natural crop variety, okay?
Okay. the highlight is don't worry for the crops, biotechnology crops. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to say sorry because question and answer session is over. To sum up, this keynote speech is about challenging us to develop land sustainability by not creating environmental damage to maintain soil fertility. Now let me deliver the certificate to give the huge appreciation for Professor Didi. Okay, thank you. And now let's take a picture. Please give your gorgeous smiles for all participants and for speakers. Okay, I count down. 3, 2, 1. Okay, I'd like to thank the speaker for insightful talk, and see you around. Keep healthy, Professor Didi.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yep, my pleasure. And we are going to the third speaker. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the third speaker is Professor Hiroyuki Sakakibara from Miyazaki University, Japan. Let me read a glimpse about his curriculum vitae. Professor Hiroyuki Sakakibara is Professor of Faculty of Agriculture, University of Miyazaki, Japan. After getting PhD in 2002 at the Kobe University, Japan, he was worked at a postdoctoral fellow at INRA Center, Clermont, France, and then postdoctoral fellow at the Tokushima University, Japan. Thereafter, he obtained an academic position of assistant professor at the University of Shizuoka, Japan in 2006. Following, he moved to University of Miyazaki as an associate professor in 2012 and was promoted to professor in 2019. His research is focused on functional food science based on rodent animal models. Recently, he especially focused on preventive effect of food ingredients such as polyphenol on lifestyle-related diseases from the viewpoint of biological return. Dear all participants on this conference, Please welcome to Professor Hiroyuki Sakakibara to deliver a great presentation about the effect of harvest timing on antioxidant activity of soybean leaf. Even though the presentation will be described by the video, but don't worry that Professor Hiroyuki Sakakibara is available here. Let me say hello and give a welcome greeting. Hello, Professor Hiroyuki.
Hello. Hear me?
Hello. How are you today?
Yeah, thank you very much. But I already sent you the video presentation, but it's my misunderstanding. So my presentation time almost 30 minutes. But today, just only 20 minutes. What should I do?
Okay, no matter. No matter, we just opening your video and we let continue the discussion.
Okay, no problem.
Okay,
please.
Okay. For Professor Hiroyuki, the time is yours.
Video is already setting.
Yep. Yeah. Your video is already received by us.
Okay. And working at the University of Miyazaki, Japan. First of all, I would like to express my thanks for everyone on the organizing committee about giving me such opportunity to give the presentation on this conference. It's called ICoN-BEAT. It's okay. If possible, I hope to visit Malang, Indonesia, and give my presentation on site. And I had the plan. After conference, I will go sightseeing around Malang town before returning to Japan. However, as you know, COVID-19 situations did not permit my visiting at Indonesia. Therefore, I'm sorry, but I am still in Japan, and please accept today's my presentation is recorded material. And I wish and pray for everyone attending to this conference future happiness, and hope to meet you in the future, near future, and discuss anything. Anyway, I would like to start my presentation. Okay. Okay, so now I would like to start my presentation. Today's my topic is, here is the title, Effects of Harvest Timing on Antioxidant Activity of Soybean Leaf. Okay, so next slide. Here. I guess many of you know the word functional foods. Basically understand as some food or food ingredient that can regulate our body homeostasis and therefore can reduce the risk of some diseases such as diabetes, obesity, and hypertension. There are lots of researchers who investigate about functional foods, including Japan. Why are functional foods factors focused in Japan? Here. Because recently many of our Japanese, they are westernization of dietary habits, meaning high consumption of fat and milk, and low consumption of vegetables, and also increasing the opportunity to consume the fast food such as hamburger. I do not know it is true or not, but increasing of patients of lifestyle related diseases because of food habits changes. Therefore, many research groups in Japan are trying to find the foods and food factors that can prevent lifestyle-related diseases, including obesity and diabetes. Lots of functional food factors have been found for prevention from many diseases. Among them, polyphenols are major groups. Polyphenols has such basic structure here. This is a benzene ring. And they have phenolic hydroxyl group, more than 2 like this. And such polyphenols reported there are a lot of beneficial effects like this. Our group recently also reported many interesting aspects. For example, I would like to introduce some results. Here, this manuscript was published at Journal of Functional Food at 2020, last year. In this study, we focused on black soybean seed called polyphenols, such as catechins and procyanogens, and found that daily consumption of black soybean seed called polyphenols might attenuate dyslipidemia. Maybe prevention from obesity. Next, examples. This manuscript was published on nutrients at this year. In this study, we focused on quercetin, one of major polyphenols mainly existed in the onion, and found beneficial effects of quercetin might move from mother to her children. Anyway, you can obtain many kinds of information about functional aspects of polyphenols. Okay, next slide. We also make the database which kinds of vegetables, fruits, and teas consuming in Japan have high amounts of polyphenols, and made a ranking using this publication little bit previously because 2003. But this paper contained a lot of data information. So we make the ranking using this paper. So this is a result. Y-axis here, this meaning the polyphenol amounts higher in this pyramid indicate containing high amounts of polyphenols. Here, for example, green tea, coffee beans, the blueberry, they are high polyphenol containers. On the other hand, carrot, kiwi fruits, and potato, they do not contain high amounts of polyphenols. Therefore, daily consumption of such vegetables, fruits, and teas might prevent our body from some diseases. This is the reason why we humans consume daily polyphenol-rich foods. Although such polyphenols are not essential nutrients. Here, I have a question. How about plants? Of course, it depends on the plant sources, plant species, but most of plants can biosynthesize the polyphenols. Why the plant can biosynthesize the polyphenols? A couple of years ago, we found this question. Next slide. This slide shows the wavelength properties of sunlight. Okay. As you know, sunlight can classify the 3 categories according to the wavelengths. That is ultraviolet regions, visible light regions, and infrared regions. Okay. Ultraviolet regions is further categorized according to their wavelengths. Their wavelengths from 200 nanometers to 200 280 nanometers. That is called UVC here. Next, from 280 nanometer to 315 nanometer, that is UVV. And from 315 nanometer to 400 nanometer, that is UVA. On the fundamental knowledge, sunlight at ultraviolet regions here has strong energy power. Therefore, when exposing sunlight at ultraviolet regions, many damages are induced and consequently induced many diseases, for example, skin cancer. However, the stratosphere layer and atmosphere layer are around the Earth, and therefore UVC and UVB regions cannot arrive at the surface of the Earth here, blocked. In conclusion, only UVA here, UVA region can arrive to the surface, and we humans should consider a counter plan for UVA, this one. Okay, so how to consider a counter plan for UVA? One of the easy way is to use a sunshade parasol here like this. If we humans use such a sunshade parasol, we can easily protect from the exposure of UVA. Yes, a human can easily consider counter plan for UVA, but how about plant? Here, how about plant? Can the plant use the sunshade parasol like this? No, I don't think so. They cannot use the parasol by themselves. Okay, so how do the plant consider a counter plan for UVA? One of the protective mechanisms is polyphenols. Polyphenols have their characteristic UV absorbance. For example, there are 3 typical polyphenols: quercetin, diazine, chlorogenic acid. Their structure is here. This is their UV absorbance spectrums. X-axis indicates the wavelengths from 200 nanometers to 400 nanometers. Y-axis indicate intensity here. In case of quercetin, quercetin has strong absorption properties for UVA region here. It's meaning quercetin can absorb the wavelengths of UVA. Okay, diazine and chlorogenic acid also have absorption properties for UVA, for example, here and also here. If the plant skin has such polyphenols as enough amounts, in this case, plant can protect from the damage by irradiation of UVA reached at the surface of the Earth. So, from the viewpoint of plants themselves, they biosynthesize the flavonoids in order to protect from UV-induced damages. This is the tentative theory, but I think this is the reasonable. Next slide. So this is the long backgrounds for my today's presentation. Here, additional backgrounds. Do you know the biological clock? The biological clock is well known to be existed in the body, including animals and plants, and therefore many biological events exert circadian rhythm. Okay, biological clock is my another research topics, but there are not enough time today. Therefore, I would like to skip the detailed points about biological clock, but I would like to show one information. Do you know this plant? Sensitive plant. When I touch the leaf, immediately they close the leaf. This is typical characteristics of sensitive plant. This plant has another characteristics that they sleep every day. Please look the movie which I made, please. Okay, so how about this movie? I think it's very interesting, and this movie clearly indicates the sensitive plant repeat wake and sleep independent from sunrise and sunset. When calculating their sleep and wake cycle, we can know they accurately wake at morning and sleep at the evening, meaning 11.6 hours for opening period and 12.4 hours for closing period. We submit this data to the conference journal. Okay, so biological clock are well known to be existed in the body, including animals and plant, and therefore many biological events exert circadian rhythm. Next point, sunlight, UV irradiation also indicate circadian rhythm. Okay, therefore we had the hypothesis: if biological events are affected by circadian rhythm of sunlight, UV radiation, the amounts of some biosynthesized compound, it meaning polyphenols, probably different among the day. Here, so I would like to introduce two experimental data we obtained. First is indoor cultivation. We employed soybean here. Its strain names Fukuyutaka and cultivated in the experimental house according to these environment here. Day zero meaning the germination day here, and we recorded their leaf movement at day 15 and obtained the evidence that soybean leaf clearly indicate the circadian movement as similar to the sensitive plant because as shown here, opening period 11.9 hours average for 7 days and 12.1 hours for closing during the 7 days. It's almost similar. Okay. Under day 18.4 here, green soybean seed and leaves were harvested at the beginning of the light period. Here, we called cytogamma time ZT0 and the end of light period, cytogamma time 14. Isoflavone amounts, antioxidant activity, and gene expression analysis were carried out. Here, we employed two kinds of genes, cinnamate 4-hydroxylase and also isoflavone synthetase. These two genes are related for the isoflavone synthesis. Okay, so next is the result. So here we can see the three data. It's antioxidant activities, isoflavone amounts, and also gene expression profiles. Yellow bar indicates the harvested at the end of the light period. The end of the beginning of the light period. I'm sorry, the beginning of the light period, and black bar indicate the harvested at the end of the light period. Firstly, antioxidant activities. Antioxidant activity of soybean leaf indicates quite higher than that of the cytogamma time 14 here, significantly higher. On the other hand, antioxidant activities in the bean portion, we could not find any antioxidant activities. In case of isoflavone amount in green soybeans, there's no differences between cytogamma time 0 and cytogamma time 14. And finally, gene expression profiles C4H and IFS. There is significantly differences, but remarkably higher in the cytogamma time 0 period comparing with the cytogamma time 14s. These results indicating that flavonoid synthesis, isoflavone synthesis are accelerated in the beginning of the light period. Okay, so we move to the next experiment. Here we used same soybean strain named Fukuyutaka and cultivated at outdoor according to this environment. At day 99, green seed, its Japanese name edamame, was harvested. And then dry soybean seed, Japanese name daizu, were harvested. At day to 120. Okay, following isoflavone amount, water content in soil, and gene expression analysis were carried out. So this is the result about the water content in soil and the gene expression profiles of LAX-C. Firstly, I showed the data about water content in soil because some researchers reported that water content in the soil affects the diurnal patterns, but diurnal differences were not observed in the water content in soil, as you can see here. Next, the gene expression profiles of LAX. This gene is well known to exert circadian rhythms, so-called clock genes. This expression indicates typical diurnal rhythms on the green soybean, like this, and reached at maximum at the middle of the day. On the other hand, could not find the rhythmicity on the dried soybeans. Here, following this data indicate the gene expression profiles of CH4 isoflavone synthetase and also isoflavone reductase. Among these three isoflavone-related genes, only C4H indicate the clear circadian rhythms, especially on the green soybeans, like this. On the other hand, dried soybean red circles did not indicate the clear circadian rhythm, diurnal rhythms. Other two genes, IFS and IFR, did not indicate the diurnal differences, only CH4 indicates the diurnal rhythms. About isoflavone amounts here, on dry soybean harvested at 6 here, red circles here indicate higher amount than that of the other timing, and also lower at ZT4 here on green soybeans comparing with the other harvesting timing. So this is the conclusion of this presentation. Firstly, we hypothesized if biological events are affected by circadian rhythm of sunlight, its meaning UV irradiation, the amounts of some biosynthesized compounds probably different amongst the day. And we obtained the following interesting data. First, soybean leaf has clear nicotinetry indicating circadian rhythm. It's similar to the sensitive plant. Antioxidant activity of soybean leaf might be higher at the beginning of light period than that of the end of light period. In green soybean, it's meaning edamame, in case one of typical clock genes, LAXes, exert clear circadian rhythm. Gene expression of cinnamate 4-hydroxylase C4H reached at middle of the day. Finally, isoflavone amounts are lower at middle of the day. In dried soybean dyes, remarkable differences were not observed on the gene expression, including clock gene, LAXes, and isoflavone synthetase. Isoflavone amounts are higher at the middle of the day. So this is a conclusion. Therefore, our data clearly indicate the harvesting timing might be important for the functional effects of plantar foods. In our opinion, the vegetable harvested at morning probably good for our health than that of harvested at night, but it's a quotation. Therefore, we have to continue these data, this study, and if possible in the future, I would like to give another result and another opportunities. Okay, so it's a time for closing. Thank you for very much for your kindly attention. And this is acknowledgement for this presentation. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much for Professor Hiroyuki for stunning presentation. I do agree that your ideas about food can prevent lifestyle-related disease, including obesity and diabetes, is quite adorable for us to think further. Now the question and answer is opened. Anyone who has question, please click raise hand button or type your question in chat column. Okay, let me check. Is any question in the chat column? Okay, Professor Hiroyuki. The question from Fatimah Nursandi.
Okay.
So the question is, what is the economic potential to produce polyphenol using apple culture techniques? Because her research by adding phenylalanine 250 milligram per liter can produce flavonoid 275 milligram quercetin equivalent per gram dry weight apple callus. Okay, Professor Ryuki, you can give direct response.
Yeah, so what is the question? So please again.
Okay.
I could not catch everything what you say.
Okay, you need repeat the question. Okay, so the question is, what is the economic potential to produce polyphenol using apple culture technique? Because her research by adding phenylalanine, 250 milligram per liter can produce flavonoid 275 milligram quercetin equivalent per gram dry weight of apple callus.
Yeah, so thank you very much for your question, and it's very difficult for answer economic potential, but I guess it depends on the polyphenol species. Now today we gave the quercetin and isoflavones, so maybe quercetin has a very strong activities. So in the future, I would like to give the answer. Now I don't have any answers. Sorry.
It's no matter, Professor Hiroyuki. So any question for the others? Please raise hand, or maybe you can type your question via column chat column, sorry. Okay, nobody. So let me deliver my question. Okay, Professor Hiroyuki. I'm curious how to best way to consume the polyphenol resources. It's mean whether in raw material or maybe we need less processing. Thank you.
Your question is about the processing. Processing means how to
best way to consume the polyphenol resources.
So it's maybe it's a fresh condition.
Yeah, the fresh condition, or
yes,
maybe
yes.
less processing.
Yeah, yeah.
It's better, yes. Okay, the fresh condition.
Yes.
Okay. How about maybe the food or maybe the resources that needs processing, like maybe the leaf of soybean? Is it possible to consume in raw?
In case of the soybean, it's very difficult. So, for example, it's a tofu and miso shoyu. We have to make the preparation, but we have to. We can trace the amount of the polyphenol during the processing. So maybe we can easily say something. Yes.
Okay, thank you. The last question. Let me check. Anyone has raised hand? Okay, to Miss Desiana Nurisa Putri. Okay, you can deliver your question directly.
Okay.
Thank you, Miss Rista. Good morning, Professor Hiroyuki. Let me ask one question. So based on your presentation, the data show that isoflavone amount in green soybean was quite higher than in dry soybean when they were harvested in the middle of the day. My question is there any correlation between the amount of water in soybean with synthesis of isoflavone? Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much for your question. I agree with the question. Maybe it's a correlation, but you know, so green soybean it's a fresh and dry soybean it's a dry. But now I give the data fresh weight, so maybe during the dry process, polyphenols including the isoflavone, maybe their amount will be changed.
Enough for Miss Desiana about the professor response.
Okay, thank you for the
Okay, thank you very much. So, ladies and gentlemen, the question and answer session is closed. I would like to sorry due to the limited time. The summary from the third speaker is what you are is what you eat. The steak, your best food to keep your health. Well, let me deliver the certificate to give the deepest appreciation to Professor Hiroyuki.
Thank you very much.
Okay, and please to all participants and third speaker to take a picture. Share your wonderful smile. Okay, I count down 3, 2, 1. Okay, thank you very much, Professor Hiroyuki. See you for the next occasion.
Yep, thank you very much.
Keep healthy. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is the last presentation of first round. I'd like to thank to all speakers and all the participation for the very active participation. Finally, give the applause for the speaker and for you all. Hopefully, this speaker will give you new insights and beneficial information. And thank you very much for attention. I leave the time back to Miss Nina.
Thank you very much, Ms. Rista Anggraini. And ladies and gentlemen, let us give another big round of applause for our speakers in the first session and also Ms. Rista Anggraini. And without further ado, let us now proceed to the next plenary session in which I myself will moderate. And so allow me to officially welcome you to the second plenary session. And here we have with us our three international speakers. Yeah, the first one is Dr. Yuris Burlakov from Estonia. Good morning from Indonesia, Dr. Yuris Burlakov.
Good morning.
Morning, how are you?
It's very early here.
Very early there. What time is it then?
It's 6:27 now, but I'm
Wow,
more than an hour here.
Thank you for waking up early for us. Okay, and our second speaker is Dr. Zain Vinzavika Gale from Latvia. Good morning from Indonesia, Dr. Zain.
Good morning.
Morning, how are you, Dr. Zain?
I am fine. So I will try to understand what I have to push.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Can you see me?
So...
Okay. Oh, I'm on my phone, so it's not so easy. Hello to all. Nice to meet you here, and so I will be glad to present after Yuris.
Okay, thank you very much for joining us in this conference. And our third speaker is Dr. Heni Sukorini from UMM Indonesia. Good morning, Bu Heni.
Morning, Can you hear my voice?
Yes, but
Yeah,
it's
okay.
quite faint, Bu. Lirih sekali. Oke, sehat Bu Heni ya?
Ya, alhamdulillah.
Okay, thank
Still
you
healthy.
for joining us and willing to share your expertise with us. Now, giving the first talk in this second plenary session is Dr. Yuris Burlakov. And he will talk about the advanced studies of inert landfill fine fraction mass, hunting for values from waste. But before we move on to the talk, let me introduce him shortly. Yeah, Dr. Yuris Burlakov is currently serving as extraordinary researcher in the Estonian University of Life Sciences. He obtained his PhD in life science in 2015, and he has extensively conducted research and published in the area of biosciences and environment, environmental protection, environmental technology, and pollution control. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Yuris Burlakov.
Yes, I can try to share my screen now. Hope that I will find, because I don't know files. I'm not sure that I'm very good at Zoom, how to find this, because it doesn't offer the from the computer anything.
It's the green share screen button.
Share screen, but where to get the? Okay, I need to open it first. Understood.
Yeah.
Understood.
It's usually at the bottom. Or do you want us to share?
I open it now soon. Wait a second.
Tidak, filenya ada di Mas Galit atau
We can
di
also
Pak
help
Gawat.
sharing the screen.
I think I have it now, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, we can see your screen now.
How to make it as a presentation now is a good question. F5 is not working.
Oh, it's the slideshow at the bottom too. At the bottom right.
This one.
Yeah. Ready.
Oh, selamat siang to you. So I think it's afternoon already. Tere päevast, it's like daytime here in Estonia. And I have advanced studies of inert landfill fine fraction mass, hunting for values from waste. Sounds very difficult, but actually it's very easy. What can we get from the waste we don't use anymore, but not from the garbage big one, but from the small particles, which usually is the inert part, like a land looks like. I am together with several people. You also see the Professor Zane Vincevic-Gaile, which will be the next presenter. And we simultaneously work on different projects and help each other in some way. And also we are working together with Roy and Rocco from Indonesia for a couple of years. And you see other authors also from Estonia and Latvia. Just shortly introduce the problem. The problem is that we have the growing rate of like waste electronic equipment and other wastes which can contain very valuable particles like rare earths and platinum group metals. And in European Union, and not only in European Union, we have problem with these strategic resources. And our point is to try to find the technological potential for high metal recoveries by using different means, starting from the large sorting, if you take the big ones, and for the fine particles, you need to use and try some experimental hydrometallurgical bioleaching and other approaches. Why do we need this? We have the critical raw materials for the European Union. European Commission Enterprise and Industry section has developed like pillars, what we need to do. The main challenges is that the EU is highly dependent on imports of raw materials, metals, industrial minerals, which are increasingly affected by market distortions. We have seen like in 2011 when China put the ban on rare earths, for example, and in 1 hour some metals raised in price like 100 times even. Here are just you see the curves, how fast can change the price for palladium and comparably to the economical indices. And this raw materials initiative is in 3 pillars. it's based on it, ensuring access to raw materials from international markets. You see the problems now in pandemic also with the supply chains, and for the industry, you know that the problem is with these microchips for computers. Also, so America doesn't know what to do, and other countries. So you have the shortage, and price goes up, inflation goes up, and no one is happy at the time. The another pillar is right framework conditions within the European Union to foster sustainable supply from European own resources. So it means that we need to think about own resources. And the third one is the resource efficiency and recycling, which we here think about, is of course we need to reduce the consumption if it's possible of primary resources, and then we can think about the recycling. There are some pictures from Australia. You see the road train of 200 tons every 5 minutes from Australia goes to port, and then it goes to China, and China is the largest producer. And in Europe, the idea is we need to take away a little bit of this narcotical dependence of the Asian markets. It's not my idea, it's European Union idea. So to increase resource efficiency, the Commission published a roadmap on how to move towards efficient Europe. And this roadmap exists already from 2011, but as far as you have heard, perhaps we have a lot of countries in the European Union, and this process is not so fast. So the perspective is up to 2050 in the best way. What are these critical raw materials? Critical raw materials are of great economic importance with large supply risks and a lot of environmental possible impact. I mentioned already this electronic waste, and like all these things can be coupled in these 3 points. Just to mention what are these critical minerals, critical elements, you see, probably you have heard about that. You have a lot of use in the renewable energy for solar cells, wind turbines, for hybrid cars, LED lighting, batteries, flat screens, everything you can imagine in the newly developed technological revolution now. So here are a lot of numbers, but the main is that the productions must be raised. The substitution is needed because a lot of these minerals, like antimony, for example, are already finishing for the resources. So we need to think about how to recycle better. So here you see what 4 different raw materials are used for, like platinum for fuel cells, catalysts, palladium catalysts, and seawater desalination. So you see that emerging technologies which are growing in the world need these elements. High supply risks a lot of worldwide production, like from China, geopolitically unstable countries like Congo, we can call also Russia a little bit unstable in some way, Brazil, and some of these elements are really from just a few countries, and it means that the supply risk is too high. We need to think how to manage that. Low substitutability, what does it mean? It means that there is no alternative at the moment, like from rare earths and for platinum group elements. And low recycling rates. They are used in very low concentrations in electronics, for example, or for renewable technologies, aerospace industry, and you cannot recycle. So what you dig out, you use, and you cannot get back. Here is the ranking according to the environmental country risk. And you see that rare earth is one of the biggest. Then you see antimony, germanium, platinum group elements, tungsten, and other elements. So to the right side are with the greater risk to pollute the environment. Another diagram for the supply risk combined with economic importance. And you see again that rare earths and platinum group elements are in the upper right part. And then you see also germanium, indium for telephones, cobalt for different electronic industries, and so on. So just if you know Mendeley table by visual better, then you see where there's located in Mendeley table these elements. And the rare earth element is this usually green line in Mendeley table with the they are actually not so rare. They are with very similar chemical properties, so it's not easy to distinct each from another one. So you dig out together with another polymetals, and then it's very hard and contaminated process, like in Inner Mongolia, in China territory, you have big quarries like Bayan Obo, and this environmental risk is very high. So we need to think how to try to recycle. So this critical list is updated every 5 years, and carried out further studies, competition to land use, cradle to grave, LCA, like life cycle analysis. And in European Union is established a subgroup of raw materials supply group on criticality, this specific problem. Again, just a visual description how the world metal prices are changing. They are not stable, and usually I have seen in lectures that everyone is telling that prices are raising all the time. It's not entirely perfectly true. It's these prices are fluctuating, but this volatility is not good for economy as well. If it would be constantly raised and you print the money, so then it would be better than it's just volatile like that. And for tiny markets, you see these cubic type of curves, like for osmium or several other metals which are used by just a few companies in the world. This price one day can be very small, and then next day it can be 1,000 times, because there is no alternative, as I mentioned, for some of them. Here I visited Australia for the Commodity and Stock Exchange Center to study a little bit about the pricing. Just a short outlook about the financial crisis. Why are they occurring? Why are damaging economy? And this is perfectly linked with the commodity super cycles. And nowadays we are like in commodity super cycle, which drives the prices up. If we get the rock bottom last year in March when the pandemic started, now the prices have doubled and tripled and multiplied for different elements. Here is just a description how the platinum group elements look like in nature, in the pure form. Platinum group elements' role as critical elements for industry in future will rise, requiring sustainable exploration, mining, and recycling in frame of circular economy. And here we need, first of all, in my opinion, my humble opinion, is to develop the markets for recycled material. And this is where we work in environmental economics part, because we have tons and millions of tons of waste, and a lot of this waste is not even tried to be recycled as these inert masses from the landfills. In Europe, preliminary findings have shown that a lot of these, I would say, good for commodity dig out places are actually taken up. No one wants this mining in their backyards, and you see like tungsten in Spain or some fluorspot in the middle of Europe. They are built over the cities, and there are natural parks and other difficult things, so you cannot use them actually. You have these mining places potential, but no one ever will use it in the next century perhaps. Just to mention a few approaches, you can use the hydrometallurgy, you can use leaching by bacteria to try to get out the specific elements you need. Absorption, compensation, precipitation, electrowinning, and to select these strategies, actually the innovation should be put, and also the markets should be changed in some way by the governments perhaps. No one in industry likes the Green Deal per se, except the renewable technology people, of course. But the fact is that these prices will be up and the taxes on environment will be raised. So it means that a lot of incompetitive strategies can be competitive in the future. So I try to explain it in an objective way, not from the green person way, but just that it is the fact and it will be like that in the future. The short little bit. The problem is how to raise from the lab scale to the full scale applications. There are some pilot applications from Hydrover Relight plant in Milano and Umicore in Belgium, and some from Rare Earth actually is American company in Estonia, in a small country I'm now here working. And I have participated also as the member in Cost Action, which is like networking of scientists for recovery of waste electronics. It's a very difficult topic. Important research dimensions for the future is better characterization of treated electronic waste. All the waste contains electronic waste, whether it's from old landfills or whether it's from the inert mass where everything is mixed up. It depends what is the concentration. Of course, it is influencing if it is feasible to get them out. Then it's optimal pretreatment strategy, which I personally work most of all because we work together with waste management companies. And then to go to demonstration plant and existing EU projects, it's a long way to go. One of co-author, Ruta, you saw in the first slide, works on clay sorbents, and we try to use also from the wastewater, not only from the solid waste, but also from the leached material. So we tried some sorption experiments for rare earths, lanthanum, cerium, neodymium. You see the sorption curves, and clay sorbents work very well. The question is how to drive up it from experimental stage to the bigger. Already 5 years ago, one of my colleagues in Estonia, Professor Kripsalu, presented about metals and rare earth elements in landfills, some case studies, and several landfills were studied in Estonia, Sweden, and Latvia. You see the map. The Baltic Sea is a little bit smaller than Yellow Sea if you compare with your region, perhaps. And you see our region, where it's located. We chose the different places to see how the landfills are. They are never the same. Every landfill is individuality. Here, for example, is the port area, which actually is contaminated site in many places. So you have a lot of these dissolved, interesting for us, materials, minerals. We did some simple drilling. It's the historical industrial waste soil. And, just if you calculate the approximation, we have some kind of 1.5 to 2 megatons of these elements which you see, and remediation project is still waiting its order because the government doesn't have in Latvia money for that. Easier to get it monitored and buried under the soil. The aim of this study was to determine the elemental content of this inner part, which is bound in colloidal form with silky aggregates from excavated soil to assess recovery potential of different metals and rare earths for the future. So why rare earths? I already mentioned. They were not primary objective. Primary objective in this project was the remediation, but it is like extra a bit. Rare earths can have strategic and expensive up to several $1,000s per kilogram. And for European, for example, it can be even higher. It's useful to know what do we do with this, let's call it stock for the future. If we go for extracting of major metals from contaminated site or from landfill, perhaps we can in some way to use innovation and use for whether it's rare earths or platinum group elements or something else. So we can try these mentioned before technologies. Already mentioned in Estonia this company Molycorp from United States. It is already producing tantalum and niobium from low-perite ores, but they are importing it from the Kola Peninsula in Russia anyway. But they are interested in the results of these innovative future technologies. So the aim is to find sustainable resources recovery potential for fine fraction of landfill waste with several objectives: to estimate recovery perspectives, to investigate interactions among remnant pollution and organic matter, because it's very hard to divide from organic matter. This is the challenge. And provide scientifically approved recommendations, not only from recovery, but also for the ecosystem revitalization in landfills. Because if the landfill must be closed according to the rules, maybe we can get some extra bonus with the materials out of it in circular economy perspective. So just a few words again about the problem. The prices of minerals go up, in general go up with fluctuations. And global demand will double next 25 years, especially for these specific critical elements, because we have technological revolution now. And the possible answer is to take even the old landfills and use the landfill mining approach. So to excavate from historically dumped waste, this is already the innovation, reducing the greenhouse gas emissions by taking away the methane, and we restore the landscape. We can get the park in it, for example. This is a completely new market which we can go to. Just a speculative calculation for 3 small Baltic states. We have 1,700 closed landfills. We can get 2 million tons of refuse-derived fuel for energy, 0.33 million tons of metals, and 140 tons of rare earths. It's very theoretical, of course, you understand it, but it's just to show the numbers. It can be up to, just from Latvia, it can be like 100 million theoretical euros. You see the materials by type. We analyzed many tons of the waste to see what's inside of the teddy bear. You see that some of it is plastic, and this others, this more than 1 million tons of weight is the inert waste, actually, these small particles which no one actually does so far. So if we find a way, so it's a good challenge and good perspective for that. Will not go in detail about the methane degradation, but also the challenge is the greenhouse gas effects. We are working now of innovative capping of this inert waste material, if we can take not only the minerals out of it, but also to use it for the degradation of methane, which is going out from the landfills. You close the landfills and cover it with specific specific material from the inert waste. So the master plan in our case study was to develop from the existing landfill the capping, which destroys the methane, and make a park in this landfill.
Dr. Yuris, excuse me, can we finish in maybe 1 or 2 minutes?
Yes, it's almost the end. Therefore, I skip pretty fast. So you see that not only the minerals out of the landfill, but also we get the greenhouse gas effects. And just the pictures how it's in the beginning, the work, and then we measure the methane. So you see that it's good for environment, society, and economy. So we need to go to the spaceship economy, and it is like two questions: is the Earth open or closed? We need to have this circular approach, and the same we need in economic system. We don't have it yet, especially after the pandemic. Everyone is talking about the growing of the linear economy per se. And this already I mentioned. Future of landfills is logistic centers for recycled material, industrial thematic parks, and possibly also we will have critical elements out of this. So you see that it's multi-scale thinking needed here, and teamwork is very important. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Yuris Burlakov. Give a big round of applause for him, Bapak Ibu. So, okay, so Dr. Yuris Burlakov has given a very insightful talk about how the critical state of raw materials in inert landfill can serve as one of the solutions, yeah, especially for the inner economy. Now, I think it's a very important topic for Indonesia and also for many other countries all over the world. And now I think I've seen that there are questions already in the chat room. If you can check, I think we can go to the question from Pak Roy. Yeah, I think we can directly take some question and answer it directly. Is that okay, Dr. Burlakov, Dr. Yuris Burlakov? Yeah. So the question here is, if you can see in the chat, you are an expert in heavy metals, and in Indonesia, 15 years ago, a disaster called Lapindo Brantas, if you are aware about it, yeah, it happened. It's the mud that came out of the ground and covered about 16 villages in 3 sub-districts in Indonesia. And there were many issues, okay, and which results in the statement that this mud, it contains a lot of heavy metals and also rare metals too. Now, can we work together, maybe using your laboratory in Latvia and Estonia?
Yes, for sure.
Okay.
Yes, for sure. We have a couple of years left in the project, and the tricky bottleneck part of it, I wanted also to go to Indonesia, but with this situation was not possible, so I even could smuggle some samples from Roy, perhaps. But maybe it's also possible to deliver it somehow else with the specific delivery. But I don't know the rules from the third countries to European Union, if they ask some specific permissions that you send, because it may be treated as hazardous waste if you deliver it by post. But if to do it in a smart way and call it like laboratory samples, I don't know, you can't mention that it's organic, because then it's another agricultural problem that they will what is that, maybe some invasive seeds or something. So this is a technical problem at the moment, and of course it's mainly for the scientific work. We don't work in the big scale now. This how much we can calculate how much is what inside, and perhaps write a good scientific papers. So this is what I see, of course.
Okay, so I think it can be a very fruitful collaboration. Yeah, I think Pak Roy can follow up on this. And there is also another question about plastic waste. You mentioned about the landfill too, yeah. And plastic waste is a big problem in Indonesia. Do you think that there are any best practice in Estonia which can can be shared to Indonesian people and to educate, especially in terms of the education?
It's a kind of different, of course. Like in Indonesia, you have 150 million or even more. I don't know how much people, 200 million perhaps. In Estonia, it's 1.2 million, and it's not very dense populated. So we are a little bit compact. And Estonians are looking to the Scandinavian example very much, to Finland especially. So the sorting and the environmental education and awareness is the priority. And also this sorting has been put in the law, and you have these sorting centers, and even when the market goes down and the plastic has the negative price, like I think it's now also because China and India banned the import of plastic, the price went to negative. So you need to pay someone who takes it, something like that. So it's not a benefit for enterprises. It should be also delivered in the law in some way, that someone wants to make the product from it, because no one is like NGO to work for free, and enterprise cannot work with the losses. So this is a multi question of environmental and waste management, how to deal. And Indonesia, as far as I know, is federative country, and every federative land perhaps has different rules. So perhaps it should be both from the bottom up and from the top to down approaches. One is to educate, and for government or local government to develop this sorting rules, that it's not allowed to make it just to the somewhere or to dig in the ground or to the ocean. And it's not easy question, I know. It takes 2-3 generations, as I was told in Switzerland when I was visiting. Yeah, they said it's 50 years approximately.
50 years. We hope that Indonesia can get 50 years, maybe. We also have another question. Bu Devi has raised hand and will ask directly. Please, Bu Devi.
Thank you very much, Ms. Nina. Good afternoon, Mr. Juris Burlakov. Now, I would like to ask about PGA's roles as critical elements for industry in the future. So it will rise, requiring sustainable exploration, mining, and recycling. So would you like to share with us about the strategy, how to sustainable exploration, mining, and recycling? Thank you.
Just to be the very objective and to talk from a side, from another planet, I would say to people, not consume too much and don't change the devices too much, which you use in the personal life. And also a little bit of old-fashioned view that infinite technology development also is not too good, because like Apple is producing for the linear market every year a new model of telephone, and it's not possible to recycle. Even if you collect perfectly the small indium parts, which is micrograms or milligrams in this telephone, you cannot recycle. It's not possible, even if you pay from the government extra to help it. So the thing number one is to reduce the consumption when it's possible. Then to reuse. For instance, I try to reuse old things. Okay, sometimes it's not very energetically, but it's another question about energy issues and greenhouse gases and so on, how to calculate this full life cycle. And recycling technologies should be developed. Another strategic direction, the big one, is substitution. To find the technologies when you don't need, like this antimony, which will finish by 2043, for example, and platinum group elements, they are not so scarce, but The problem is that all these tiny elements, including these platinum group elements, they are used in combination. You dig out like nickel, copper, and then what is remain is the platinum group elements. And but I think this problem with platinum group elements, a lot of them will expire because Green Deal and all these directions to electric car will diminish this problem at least. They are mostly for the engines, for the catalysts used. Not only to that, but it means that a resource for that, this pool will be bigger for other smaller needs. So if you use more copper and nickel, actually you get more PGMs. Here is the geopolitical risk more about the war in somewhere or social unrest in South Africa, where you have problems with these mining companies which doesn't pay enough money. Or it's not just environment or supply, it's also the geopolitical thing.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Devi. Thank you also, Dr. Yuris Burlakov. It has been a very interesting session, and I think we learned a lot from the presentation given by Dr. Burlakov in this session. But personally, what I can highlight is that what we can do, we can be environmentally smart consumers, yeah, and to reduce and reuse efficiently. And now this, ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of our session with Dr. Yuris Burlakov. Thank you very much, Dr. Yuris, for
Thank you.
sharing your research with us. And now, as a token of appreciation, we will relay your certificate. And ladies and gentlemen, please give applause for Dr. Yuris Burlakov. Okay, and this is your certificate. Okay. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let us immediately move on to the next speaker. Second speaker in this second session, parallel session, yeah, Dr. Zain Vincevika Gale. I hope I pronounced your name correctly.
Dear Chairman, not exactly.
Oh no.
Please share my first presentation.
Okay.
Then I will start, and then will everything go on.
Okay, yeah. So before you start, I think let me read your short biography. Yeah, Dr. Vincevika Gale is a fellow researcher. How should I pronounce your name? Sorry.
Zane Vincevića Gaile. Zane. You can say Zane, just the name.
Oh, okay, Zane. Okay, that's okay if I call you just Zane. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, she is a fellow researcher at the Faculty of Geography and Earth Sciences, the University of Latvia. She received her doctoral degree in chemistry in 2014 from the Faculty of Geography and Earth Science, University of Latvia, and she has extensively conducted research and published in the area of renewable energy technologies. And Zane, you have 20 minutes for sharing and presenting, and you can start now.
Please share my first presentation. I cannot do it by myself.
Oh, okay. I think it's, oh yeah, I can help you share this.
Yes.
Yeah.
The first slide. The first slide. Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much. So good morning and good afternoon again. My name is Zane Vincevića Gaile, and today my talk will be related to the efforts towards the sustainable peat-free soil amendments. Next slide. Next slide. Of course, in the best case, it would be a pleasure and honor for me to be in Malang now. However, instead, I'm together with you, but at the same time, more than 10,000 kilometers away, and even more 300 kilometers to north, as I'm in Estonia for a work trip now. So, next slide. Oh, okay. Skipped one. For those who hear the name of Latvia for the first time, it is a country within the European Union located on the coast of the Baltic Sea with the capital city Riga. Next. And next. And here come some facts related to our countries, our country in comparison to Indonesia. You can see the area of our country is about 30 times smaller than Indonesia, but population is by 148 times smaller, and density by 5 times less than for Indonesia. Oh, you are okay.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, but I don't know how it works. It's not so easy. So climate in Latvia is usually temperate, but I have checked the weather conditions for today. In Riga, it is forecasted plus 28 degrees Celsius, while in Malang, plus 32. So it's a kind of hot day today. About my university, the university, next one. The University of Latvia I'm working at is a national leading and most influential higher education institution in Latvia. It is established more than 100 years ago and is located in the capital city Riga. Since 2015, we have moved to modern university campus. The university is of wide profile, involving more than 50 scientific branches distributed under 13 faculties. The staff consists of more than 3,000 employers, and more than 16,000 students are studying. And in these pictures, you can see our historical building and new modern buildings of the university. Next one. I'm working in the Department of Environmental Science in the Faculty of Geography and Earth Sciences. This is our beautiful building, and in the pictures you can see me and my colleagues at work. Next slide. And let's start the main part of the presentation. Currently, the topic of my research is utilization, reuse, and cycling of materials in the context of circular economy, and my project is related to development of peat-free soil improver relevant as alternative to peat-containing products. But let's understand why it is important. Peat is a national resource obtained in peatlands. It is assessed as a fossil resource, and certain areas of national economy, such as horticulture, gardening, and agriculture, are strongly dependent on peat availability. If it is recognized for decades that crude oil resources are going to be depleted, then the attention is not much paid to the future of peat resources. One may argue that peat could be assessed as a biomass and a slowly renewable resource, but the process of its recovery is as slow as 1 millimeter per year, and it's not much comparable to other biomass. Therefore, for our future, it is crucial to look for materials that can replace peat at least partly. Next one. Peatlands involve such ecosystems as mares, bogs, swamps, marshes, wetlands, and they are the largest natural terrestrial carbon storages. On average, peatlands cover about 3% of the Earth's surface, but they store more than 50% of the Earth's soil carbon. However, in the Nordic countries, peatlands are covering much more larger land areas than average. For example, about 30% of land in Finland and 25% in Sweden are covered with peat. The greatest areas of peatlands are located in Russia, followed by Canada. In tropical zones, peatlands might be more understood as wetlands. By the way, Indonesia holds 23% of the world's tropical peatlands that covers 14 million hectares. Here, several facts related to peatlands are indicated, and this figure is from our freshly published review paper that you can find online. Next one. Importance of peatlands is revealed by their wide range of ecosystem services that can be grouped in 4 main groups. Provisioning means peatlands provide with the products not only such as peat and moss, but also food and fresh water. Regulating processes that are provided by peatlands involve local and global climate regulation, erosion protection, water regulation and supply, as well as natural water purification. Supporting ecosystem services involve the processes significant for other ecosystem existence, such as nutrient cycling, especially regarding carbon storage, soil formation and biodiversity. Finally, cultural ecosystem services are provided by peatlands expressed as recreational and aesthetic value, natural, cultural, historical, and spiritual impact, as well as serve as a great basis for deeper knowledge of environmental cycles, natural processes, and wildlife. And next one. Destroying peatlands leads to global environmental consequences. Damaged peatlands are the major global source of greenhouse gas emitters, as well as destroying peatlands leads to biodiversity loss, land degradation, loss of drinking water resources, excessive forest and bog fires, etc. Next. Peat extraction is the largest provisioning ecosystem service provided by peatlands. The greatest peat-producing countries in 2013 were Finland, Ireland, Sweden, Germany, Belarus, Russia, as well as Latvia on the 7th place worldwide. Latest numbers of peat production reveal that Latvia is a stable among top 10 global peat producers, despite European regulations for peat and peatland preservation that are affecting peat mining amounts in many European countries. And these are the pictures from Latvia. Next one. As it is estimated in Latvia, the main part of extracted peat, 95%, is used for horticulture, gardening, and agriculture purposes, for growing food and feed and ornamentals, for plant germination and seedling production, for planting substrates and the soil amendment mixtures. The smallest part, 2% of produced peat in Latvia, is used for heating and energy production. Remaining 3% of peat produced goes to other sectors such as the construction industry, chemical industry, and medicine, where peat is used in balneology. Next one. Resuming my talk up to this slide, it could be confusing why the country which is among the top leaders in peat production needs any solutions for peat-free future. Actually, it is not the main priority at our country's national level, but European strategies for sustainable future encourage peat use restrictions, especially for the production of energy, but reduction of peat use in soil substrates, growing media is highly advisable, and we have to look a step forward than we are now. Therefore, new product development is needed to be ready to replace peat one day. An option is the elaboration of bio-based soil amendments or improvers, understanding that these new products do not contain peat as well as mineral and synthetic materials. Furthermore, various biodegradable waste streams are applied for the production of new products. And as everyone knows, widely known, bio-based alternatives to conventional peat-containing soil improvers are compost, mulch, and sludge. However, their properties are not the same, and in many cases even not similar, as provided by peat. Next one. Achievable properties for peat-free soil amendments are as follows. optimal granulometry composition significant for aeration, and as well as storage stability. Water retention and hydraulic conductivity significant for substrate or soil moisture balance. Acidity and cation exchange capacity, indicating mineral uptake potential for plants. Content of organic matter and dry matter, content of macro and micronutrients, not only assessed as total content, but also by detecting bioavailability. The product at its best must not contain any physical and chemical contaminants, as well as undesirable microflora and weed seeds. Thus, it is not a simple way to combine materials to get the best possible solution for the final product. Next. Use of peat-free soil amendments should be feasible in following fields similarly as for peat-containing products, but with more extension. The main target is to produce ready-to-use peat-free growing media, substrates, potting mixtures, or the ingredients. Another is direction to production of soil-improving conditioning agents and additives for soil stabilization and recultivation, as well as specific acidity, alkalinity regulators, and possibly other application areas may be covered. I don't know why these slides are skipping, but it's fine. It's fine. Next one.
It seems like it is timed, maybe.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Main advantage. You said that I'm too slow. I didn't hear you.
Okay. Is it the right slide?
So yes, everything is fine. Thank you. The main advantages of peat-free soil amendments are efficient use of resources, stimulation of circular economy, and the implementation of zero waste concept. At the same time, reduction for costs of production and transportation, waste, environmental pressure, and greenhouse gas emissions can be achieved. However, the problem is that regarding production costs, it is not achievable fast in the industrial technologies if the industrial technologies and transportation routes are not yet well established. Next one. But elaboration of peat-free soil amendments faces also disadvantages, such as application of the product and maintenance might be more expensive. Standardization of components is difficult in many cases. Cautious attitude from users is of great importance because the users are accustomed to use peat and its product for a long term. The problem also is uneven availability of ingredients, for example, seasonally or by territory, and it may result in insufficient production capacity as well as fluctuating product quality. Thus, we can say it is a fence to cross. Next one. In Europe, a list of requirements exists for bio-based soil improving products, as well as for raw material and for final product. As you can see on slide, I will not go into deep details, but for example, certain limits are set for the concentration of particular metals, such as arsenic, cadmium, chromium, copper, mercury, and others. A full list of requirements can be found in the European Eco-Label Manual for growing media, soil improvers, and mulch. Next one.
Iya itu. Tapi nanti.
Many studies are related to various materials to be used instead of peat, and we tried to put the materials into one list altogether. Components applicable for peat-free soil improving products may be of natural resources as primary raw material or waste and byproducts from various industries as secondary raw material. Next one. Some remarks on certain materials used in the peat-free soil amendments. Among natural resources, I will mention sediments. Either they can be freshwater sediments such as sapropel or beach wreck remains of water plants and algae. In our department, we have studied sapropel very deeply because it is available in our lakes in great amounts. The reservoirs of sapropel identified in more than 2,000 lakes of Latvia currently are estimated around 975 million cubic meters. And sapropel has been already historically used in agriculture, but our target is to develop new products with a higher added value. For those who are not familiar with this material, sapropel is a mud-like organic rich sediment usually found in eutrophic overgrown lakes. A benefit for sapropel extraction is that the lakes are prevented from fast overgrowth. That is a problem in our country and many other countries. And sapropel is applicable not only as an alternative to peat, but also is used in chemical industry, feed production, balneology. However, variability of sapropel types by composition makes difficult the standardization of final products. But sapropel is the material that can provide peat-free soil improving products with organic matter, but cannot be applied fresh and alone, because when it dries, it cannot be returned into initial state. Next one. Another alternative materials are raw, not treated biodegradable waste and byproducts from such industries as agriculture, fruit processing, and energy production from biomass. Such secondary raw materials are as digestate compost, vermicompost, manure, biosolids, and sludge can be used as ingredients for peat-free soil amendments without any specific treatment, but only after the testing for specific contaminant presence. Next one. Another group of materials consists of thermally treated waste that can be divided by the producing industries, agricultural waste ashes, energy production ashes, industrial production ashes, and waste processing ashes. It should be mentioned that also biochar and high carbon combustion products are involved in this group, but all ashes are very alkaline materials. Some of them may contain high content of certain contaminants such as cadmium. Therefore, they can be used with caution and only in a mixture with other materials. We have done at our laboratory very deep research of biomass ashes and biochar and tried to make new product. And this is the end of this presentation, and I will ask the chairman to start the second presentation. I hope it will be a kind of relaxation for your ears, because I will not speak in second presentation. You have to just to enjoy it. And in second presentation, there will be this example how we elaborated the peat-free formula in our laboratory. Yes.
So yeah, thank you very much for the presentation, for sharing about your research in this session, Zana. Yeah.
No, please start second. Please start second presentation.
For the second presentation, I think is it?
Yes, it is very short one.
Oh. Oh, okay.
It's like continuation of this presentation.
I see. Okay. Yeah, the committee will share. Yeah. Okay, but I think if it is possible to have it in 5 minutes or so.
Okay. It is, but maybe then questions then can come now, and then that part of the presentation.
Yeah. Is it okay to present? No. Okay. So apparently there is a problem with the slide of the second presentation. So is it okay if we just take questions?
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Then thank you very much for the presentation, Zana. And ladies and gentlemen, if you have any question, it was a very interesting talk about peatland and I think we all understand that Indonesia has a wide area for peatland, and I think we have
but
lots
the
of
question is,
researchers
the
here.
second presentation is not working at all?
Yeah,
Or
let me ask the committee. How about the second presentation? The slide, is it ready? I'm afraid that we haven't received your second slide.
no, second presentation. I was sending yesterday to the general chairman.
Okay.
2 presentations.
Oh, yeah. They're checking it, and
but it's not a PowerPoint, but other.
It's a video.
Yes, it's a video. It's a video.
Okay, so
it would be very nice, because it's this first presentation was not full with the second without the second presentation.
And so they have found the video and currently working on it. So I think while waiting for that, ladies and gentlemen, you can write your questions in the chat room for Zana later to answer after we watch the video together. Yeah. Okay. Okay, and I think if you check the chat box in the Zoom, there is also a question for that. Yeah, while waiting for our team
maybe
to
you can read.
It's from Galit, and the question is, the problems with peatland in Indonesia is the cultivation and also the facilities for developing the peatland products. And from your presentation, in the Nordic area, cultivation is also carried out on peatlands. And the question is how to use peatlands while maintaining the peatland ecosystem. What do you think?
Actually, this was not the target of my presentation. It was like only insight. But yes, this cultivation and recultivation of peatlands during the processing and after, when these facilities are closed, it's very important. And in the to restore in our country, it's going that these peatlands are to be restored like to semi-natural areas. I have never seen and been in tropical peatlands, and I think they are very different to those that we have. I cannot speak about that.
Okay, yeah, but you also talked about the solutions like the soil-free, how to amend peat-free soil. And do you think, well, based on what you know about the tropical countries like Indonesia, do you think it's, what is it, we have a high potential on that to do this amendment or to engineer this?
Yes, I think every country has a potential for developing peat-free soil amendments, and it has to be overviewed for our future. I don't know about peat as a product extraction in Indonesia, but as Latvia is one of the greatest peat exporters, it might be that Latvian peat goes to Indonesia, but the problem is that peat resources can end one day, and we have to. It's like similar, like Juris told about these rare elements, and we have to try to look for any other solutions that we can use instead of peat. But the list of materials is, I think, I can say, unlimited. The problem is that these materials have to be studied and understood how they should be mixed in the best way to get the final product, which is more applicable for agriculture, horticulture, gardening, and so on.
I see, yeah. So let us see from, I mean, our team is still working on the video. Let us see from the audience. Do we have any questions from the audience? You can raise your hand. apparently there is still a problem with locating the video that you sent. So
it's a very pity because it was an important part of my presentation.
That's why I was also.
But that's
sorry
okay.
too about the skipping. I don't know what happened. I mean, it keeps skipping the slides, and so I return it back in the previous slides.
No,
So,
at the end it was everything okay, because our university does not support Zoom. We are using Teams, Microsoft Teams, and that's why I couldn't put it on my computer. So it's a bit technically not so feasible.
Okay, sorry, Miss Nina.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you can ask questions.
Maybe I would like to help Zint to open the video. Okay,
yeah.
that's me. Because the video is collected by the committee and I can access this video to open. So give me a moment.
Oh, yeah.
So this one?
Yes, yes.
Iki ya, aku cara nih gede iki ya. Suaranya metu nggak ya? You.
Okay, so Dana, there was the video.
Okay,
but...
it didn't go well, but it's fine.
Okay. Maybe you can
I don't
say
know
a few
why
words about
it
the
was
video.
delayed I don't know why it was delayed, but it's fine. Okay.
Maybe you can say a bit about the video and
as I told, it was an example of how we elaborate peat-free soil management. And in this video, there were all the steps and everything, but I don't know why it was not so working good. So
It's just well, the beauty of using technology here, yeah, and doing
yes,
it,
yes.
doing it in different time zone and different distance. But unfortunately, that our time is up, Zana. But we really thank you for your sharing, for your presentation.
Thank you very much, also.
Okay, and let us now relay the token of appreciation for Zana. And this is your certificate, which we hope to be able to give you directly, but apparently we can't, so it's
Thank you.
online now. Okay, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Let us give a big round of applause for Zana. Okay, and now we still have about 20 to 25 minutes, and we will go directly to our next speaker, Dr. Heni Sukarini, and she will talk about the impact of COVID-19 on the rice, fruit, and vegetable production in Indonesia. Dr. Heni, are you ready?
Yeah, I am ready. How about my voice?
Yes, we can hear you, but it's a bit faint, Bu, agak lirih gitu.
Okay.
Okay.
What's the problem? How if like this?
So,
Is it clear?
yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
But let me shortly introduce you to the audience, to our audience, Bu Heni.
Okay, thank you.
Insinyur Heni Sukarini, PhD, is currently serving as a lecturer and researcher in the Department of Agrotechnology, University of Muhammadiyah Malang. She received her PhD from the Kasetsart University, Thailand in 2013, and she has extensively conducted research and published in the area of the plant pests and diseases. So ladies and gentlemen, Bapak Ibu, let us welcome Dr. Heni Sukarini. Please, Bu Heni.
Thank you, Mbak Nina. Good afternoon, everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me share my presentation, Mbak Nina. I hope can present shortly because the
Yes,
time.
we can see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. My title in this presentation is sorry. I slideshow first. Okay. My title in this presentation is the impact of COVID-19 on rice, fruit, and vegetable production in Indonesia. This is interesting for us because it is new information also for us, and rarely the research about this. So it's difficult for me to look for the data for support my presentation. But I will start. Okay, this is Indonesia condition now. All the part of Indonesia has COVID-19 disease. It's so pity. And then this is the development of the disease. Start from 2020 to March 2021. We can show the graphic here. It's increase, then decrease, but from April, May, June is increase again. Let me show you the COVID status in Indonesia. Now the confirm, this is in the 25th June, the confirm of the disease is around 2 million, and the recover is 1.8 million. Yeah. But you can show after the data after this. This is the 25th June, and 1 month after, you can show the increasing the confirm of the disease is increased for around 1 million. Only 1 month. Only 1 month. So the confirm the disease attack to the human around 1 million more. Only 1 month. From 2005 to June 2016, 60 July. So it's terrible situation in Indonesia. And if we look forward about the proportion of active case of COVID to the children and elderly. Let me show you the graphic for the productive age around 19 to 59 years old. You can see is higher than elderly people there. That means we lost a lot of productive age in Indonesia. Then the province that have 10 highest that is a one in East Java. In our province now, East Java, more than 7.2%, and the less is Bali. Okay, this is the COVID situation in Indonesia. We move to the country overview for the land for agriculture area. For agriculture area, Indonesia has around 7.46 million hectare, because we open some land in the Sumatra and Kalimantan, and also for Papua. If we look for 2015, we have 8.11 million hectare, and decrease in the 2018, and then open land in the out of Java, so we have 7.46. And don't forget, we have more than 270 million people. And we just have this. And we also have COVID-19. It is a terrible situation for us. But we should move forward to cope, to face the COVID-19. Indonesia major food crop production is rice, corn, cassava, soybean, and peanut, beside fruit and vegetable. And then also Indonesia also one of the largest global producer exporter three crops, including rubber, copra, and from coconut, palm kernel, palm oil, coffee, cocoa, and spices. Ladies and gentlemen, the agricultural sector is one of the sectors that largest contribution in the GDP. We know that. And also agriculture also can survive in the crisis or economic crisis in 1997, and also can face the COVID-19 problem in 2020 and also 2021. And we know that the agriculture sector can contribute around 13.25%. This is also the agriculture need worker around 22.21%, and this is the higher than other sector. Okay, we move to how about effect of COVID-19 to rice production. The government state that the COVID-19 cannot affect to the rice production. We can say yes. We can say yes. We can see the data after this. So I illustrate our feeling. One is a smile, and one fruit is so sad about the situation. just to make us happy. That's really happy. Okay, so rice production is cannot affect by COVID-19, yes, but affect to the farmer, of course, because the farmer because of the boundary or the people cannot moving the other area. Is it the disturbing of a supply chain of, for example, fertilizer, seed, and also harvest product. How about the factor that contribute to the reducing rice production? Of course, the first one is main factor is climate change. We have El Nino in the 2018 to 19, and also in the early to 2020. Because of this climate change, the farmer plan not in the season or late season, because the weather is unpredictable. That's why the rice production is decreased, but not because of COVID-19. Okay, let me see this. The monthly area paddy crop affected and failed by hazard is because of climate change, because drought, flood, pests, etc. This one, it is drought and flood and etc. Then this, if we deeply look for in the province, so for flood in the is short of Sulawesi. Okay, and this is the Indonesia monthly rice production. We can see that the production is like a normal situation like before COVID-19. We can see this also from January to September 2019 and January September 2020 also almost same, only minus 3.2%. But on October to December, plus 26.6%, and other situation you can see in the table. Then this rice production by profits in 2020 also some area has increasing and some area has decreasing. The red one is decreasing, the yellow one is increasing. In some area are increasing, in some area are decreasing. This is normal situation. Then the productivity of agricultural land in 2020 produced around 65 billion tons for MDG, or increase around 45.7 thousand tons. You can see this. And also GDP increase and farmer exchange rate decrease. But the wholesale price of rice was so stable. In Indonesia, this is the red one, stable as well, the price. Then how affect the COVID to the farmer? Yeah, in 2020 to 2021, many labor have should be unlabored. Yeah, should be unlabored because the factory situation. So usually the labor back to the home and to be a farmer. But we know that this is untrained labor or untrained farmer. And because of farmer age, usually elderly people, so the producing something is also not effective or not optimal production. And then the other factor is social distancing, community activities restriction enforcement. This is also affecting the farmer, especially for selling the product or get the fertilizer and seed. The other situation in the market, we also many market has affected by COVID. For example, in the November 2020, around more than 1,000 people have infected by COVID-19. So market almost closed in somewhere. So this is affected by pharma because they can sell the harvest product. And also the other factor is restricted import. We cannot export, sorry, restricted export. We cannot export our product to other country because the other country also ban our product from Indonesia to be sold in the other country. This is also the problem of our farmer.
Bu Heni, can we finish
Yes.
in about 2 minutes? Thank you.
Okay. Okay, this is my language. This is the red one is in the August, the gray is in the February 2020. And this is the farmer receive index. Yeah. Then I move to fruit and vegetable. The fruit and vegetable is perishable crop because under short shelf life. Then this is the other research from Ternate that research about the selling product in horticulture. This is the price, and it is only increase in that one. The other is decrease. And this is a daily food price. We also have problem in the garlic and shallot. Bawang putih dan bawang merah ya. Garlic and shallot. Shallot itu bawang merah. Okay, then this is also the product shallot and also the other product. Then there is an increased demand for fruit because it is a source of vitamin which is needed at the time to increase immunity, but they also have the basic problem like rice. Then this is the overview our country. How to finish in 2 minutes? Mbak Nina, how to finish in 2 minutes?
You can do
it. Okay, this is a suggestion for us. Okay, we should return to the agriculture, but maybe in the modern technologies, and then we step should be intervention for this case. And this is the opportunity for the action. I classify the 3 part: short term, 5 years, intermediate, and also more than 10 years. And this is our conclusion, Mbak Nina. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Bu Heni.
Yeah.
Thank you for running too. Yeah. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, that was Dr. Heni Sukorini, and she has given us very insightful and also very relevant presentation about the topic of how COVID-19 has impacted the rice, fruit, and also vegetable production in Indonesia, and also the solutions too. I wish we have more time to talk about the solutions, yeah. But yeah, with a limited time, but I think we can open 1 or 2 question sessions. If you would like to ask, you can raise your hand or write in the chat box. Okay. So Bu Heni, maybe we can start with my question. Yeah. So about the suggestion that you give, yeah, the what is it? The return to agriculture. Maybe you can elaborate more. Yeah, because you didn't have much time on that.
Okay. Thank you, Marina. That's good question. As I mentioned before in my first presentation, I said that agriculture is quite or agriculture can face the crisis in the 1997, and also agriculture can face the problem in the COVID-19. You can see that in my presentation, the production of rice and production of fruit and vegetable also maybe rather decreased, but not much. Not much. Or you can say it's not significantly different. Yeah, based on the data. So that's why we should return to agriculture, but in the different way, not in the traditional way, but in the different way. So we can improve our production, and also we can save our product in the safety food. That's all, Mbak Nina.
So how do you think the Indonesian farmers nowadays, yeah, how do they cope with this, and how do you think that they are ready to to do the farming in different way, the different way that you mentioned?
Yeah, I think the farmers depend on the governments, and in the second, my suggestion is the government should intervention to this case. Cannot just okay, it's yours, okay, it's your problem, it's not problem. I mean, it's not cannot like this, because this is the government should manage this problem, and we can solve the problem together. I think that's.
I see. So the state intervention, yeah. Thank you very much, Bu Heni. I think.
You're welcome.
Okay, I think this is enough, and so we will relay the certificate of appreciation for Bu Heni, and while we do that, let us give Dr. Heni a big round of applause. Bapak Ibu, silahkan tepuk tangan. And this is your certificate, Bu Heni. Thank you. Okay.
You're welcome.
So, ladies and gentlemen, the presentation by Bu Heni, Dr. Heni, here marks the end of the plenary session for today. And we will now proceed to the poster presentation and also lunch break. And the poster presentation is going to be interactive, where if you see or watch the poster, and you can also ask questions, and the owner of the poster will also answer your questions. And everyone is also encouraged to score the poster, because at the end of the day, during the closing later, there will be announcement for the best poster awards. And the link is available in WhatsApp group and also in Zoom chat box. And well, it looks like this. So it's very straightforward too, and you can just score or evaluate the poster. And please note that we will start the parallel presentation after the poster presentation and also lunch break, and we will start at 12:30. Okay, so please join before the agenda, so as not to miss the parallel session. Yeah, and information about the rooms of the parallel session have been informed in the WhatsApp group and also Zoom chat box too. But before we part, I think we can do the second session of the second photo session together. Yeah, please activate your video, and our team will shoot the screen. Give us your best smile. Okay, do we start? We will start with the first page. 1, 2, 3, and then the second page. 1, 2, 3. Okay, the third page. 1, 2, 3, smile. The fourth, not many people activate the video, but let's take a picture of it anyway. 1, 2, 3, and the next one, the last one, 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for your active participation in the plenary sessions. Now, from the warm studio of the Faculty of Agriculture and Animal Science at the University of Muhammadiyah Malang, we wish you all a nice poster session and refreshing break. And we see you soon in a few minutes in the parallel session. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.